We are past halfway in the 2014 NASCAR Nationwide Series season, and we've gone about halfway across the country to bring in the latest version of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ESPN. Dave Burns with you here, along with Ricky Craven upstairs, and Ricky's got a microphone in his hand. I believe he is going to dial up our in-race reporter, Ty Dillon.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Ty Dillon, Ricky Craven, ESPN booth. You got us?
Yeah, Ricky, I got you loud and clear.
Ty, once again, congratulations on your win last week. It was an outstanding performance. I'm going to start with the mailbag this week. It comes from Melanie in Chicago, Illinois. Ty, you finished in the top 5 in the last 2 races, including your first win at the Brickyard. How confident are you that you can continue this hot streak at Iowa?
Very confident. Iowa's a racetrack I feel like I can come at and be good every week. So, Danny and my guys will give me a good race car. We missed a little bit qualifying, but our Bass Pro Chevy has been very fast. It's hopefully we can just carry this momentum and go back to back.
Ty, I watched you work awfully hard the last couple of days, and in the heat of the day, it looked like you were turning right, getting into the corner. How much will racing tonight under the lights, cooler temps, help your car?
Hopefully it helps it a lot. You know, we were definitely loose in the day conditions. We're kind of planning on the night, tightening it up, gaining a little bit of grip. Definitely need to be a little bit tighter on the exits, and I think we'll be okay.
Well, you got the wind to your back. Congratulations again on last week. Have a great night. I'm going to talk to your crew chief now, Danny Stockman.
Guys, thanks for having us on here. I want to say one more thing real quick. I think Bass Pro Shops, we got heavy hearts tonight. We're missing one of our fishing buddies, Jack Emmett, and he passed away this week. And glad we could have them guys in victory lane last week, but we're thinking about Jack's family.
Sorry to hear that. Thank you, Ty. Danny Stockman, Ricky Craven in the ESPN booth. You got us?
Got you loud and clear there, Ricky.
Danny, I just really got a kick out of the fact that you've won with both Dillon brothers, Austin in the Nationwide Series, and then, of course, last week with Ty. But I want to ask, what did that winning at the Brickyard, mean for the crew chief?
Definitely special. You grow up as a kid wanting to go to Indy just to be a part of a race, and then you go there and win. It's definitely really, really big for us at Bass Pro Shops and all of our great sponsors, everybody at RCR. It was definitely much needed, and we got to focus on tonight, try to get that Bass Pro Shop Chevy victory lane again tonight.
Sounds good. Great job last week. Good luck tonight, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Just wanted to thank Nationwide Insurance for being able to be a part of this Nationwide Series for the last few years, and the Dash for Cash has been awesome, so thank you guys very much.
That's right. Thanks, Danny.
Yeah, you hear the sentiment. These drivers have really appreciated what Nationwide Insurance has done for this series, and we'll be sorry to see him go. Hey, staying with the 3-car theme, that's the rear tire carrier, Justin Voss, an Iowa native, Parkersburg. He once called home. He'll be our over-the-wall reporter here tonight. Let's hear from Pit Road. Rick DeBoer.
Well, you might call this Brad Keselowski against the rest of the world. He's the only one of the Sprint Cup regulars who came over from, shall we say, Pocono to be a championship contender here tonight. Now, he's driving that 22 car. Sure, he's going for Roger Penske owner points, but make no mistake, this is personal for Brad Keselowski out there. He likes this track. He won the first nationwide race here. He won that race a year ago. He wants to win again tonight to get his 3rd. It's personal. He's happy to take on the rest of the world. Jim Noble?
Well, Rick, this second trip to Iowa, a bit calmer for Chase Elliott. Remember back in May, he was jetting back and forth between Iowa and his home in Georgia to attend his high school graduation. No such worries for the driver tonight, but on pit road, this team will be under a microscope. An entirely new pit crew, a Hendrick Motorsports development squad. They may hold the key to Chase Elliott's fate tonight. Vince Welch.
And don't forget about the 54 team. After all, they've won more races this season, 4, than any other team in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Sam Hornish Jr. won this race in May. Car hasn't been perfect this weekend. They've been on the splitter a little bit too much. But crew chief Adam Stevens told me just a moment ago, we've been focused on the long run this weekend, and we believe we're going to have a long run throughout the course of this race. We think we're going to be just fine. Dave?
Vince, no one has led more laps here at the Iowa Speedway in the Nationwide Series than Sam Hornish. He's looking to make it another win here tonight in that 54 car. You see the pace car has the field. They are in turn 3. Trevor Bayne earned the pole position earlier today, narrowly beating out Brad Keselowski, and the outside, Regan Smith and Brian Scott make up row 2. And then row 3, Michael McDowell and Chase Elliott. Pace car makes the hard left turn down onto pit road. The field is in the hands of the starter. Green flag in Iowa.
really good start for Trevor Bain.
Clear by 2.
Good jump by Trevor to lead lap 1. You saw Chase Elliott go 3 wide for a moment, then ducking back in off of turn 2. A smart move on his part as he stays really high in turn 2 this time.
Yeah, that wasn't his objective. That car just went up the racetrack, opens the door for Michael McDowell. The greatest challenge for a driver is driving up underneath the driver, getting into the corner, because that's when you have the least amount of downforce. And you can see it didn't work for McDowell.
Side by side across the start-finish line. Elliott staying with his high line. McDowell staying low. Behind him, 2 wide, Sadler and Hornish.
And one of the risks for a driver is when you run the outside lane too hard early, you can burn up the rear tires.
Chase is going to prevail on the high side now over McDowell. This battle's staying good.
It's taxing on the right side tires. It's the longer way around. You have to carry a little more speed into the corner because it is the longer way around.
Hornish is going to take the spot now. That is for 7th over Sadler. Brian Scott and Regan Smith side by side out of 4.
You spend the first half dozen laps kind of sizing up the racetrack. Then you spend the next half dozen laps evaluating your race car. And we're sort of getting into that transition now because after 6 or 8 laps, the field sort of separates.
I tell you who's sizing up too. You can see on the side of the picture as we look at, yeah, that's right, the lead. Trevor Bain sees Brad Keselowski in his mirror as Brian Scott now moves through 3rd.
You hear that? On the gas, off the gas. That's a classic example of losing grip, lateral grip. You got 2 choices. You lift out of the gas or you run into the guy to your right.
Chase Elliott's been to the high side. He's been to the low side. He's pedaled the throttle. You're on board with Sam Hornish.
You know, there was a lot of optimism in the garage a couple hours ago. I went down after qualifying, and the 54 team, I talked to a few team members, and it was a bit of a mixed bag. You know, and that's sort of atypical for that team, that they didn't feel really, really good about what they had. So they might have their work cut out for them here.
See how many cards they were holding by the end of the night. Sam again running in the 6th position, looking back a little bit further to side-by-side battle. Dylan Kwasniewski on the inside in that 42 car this week. Yeah, they do the swap when Kyle Larson is not in a companion event to run the 42. Kwasniewski moves over there. In the 31 tonight is his teammate is Chase Pistone.
If you love an underdog story, look at the 01 with Landon Castle. It's classic. Team is underfunded. They're underemployed, but they overachieve.
Iowa native Landon Castle grew up racing right nearby here. Just out back, there's a go-kart track where he took some of his first laps as a racer. Of course, Landon trying to make a big difference here now in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. There's that 31 of Pistone to the right side of the screen. We talked about Chase. Ran here in May. Have another good run in the 31.
You know, every one of these drivers sort of has a different objective. You look at Landon Castle making a strong move under, getting in, carry some speed through the middle, but he's not able to finish it off the corner. Heading down the backstretch, you got to be careful you don't overdrive on corner entry, or you're going to slide up. Get back to the gas sooner, and you clear it.
14th for Castle.
So every one of these drivers has a different objective, and you look at Pistone, and he's done such a remarkable job all weekend. He's a thinking man's driver. He just seems to, everything that he does seems to be well thought out, methodical. I think he's done a great job this weekend.
Well, and to me, one of the most difficult things is to have a one-off or a two-off experience and drive it aggressively, because you know if you wreck the car, they might be a little bit ticked off about that.
And you cannot see from his seat that there are no decals on the car, but you know the responsibility. Run well, finish well, try to get sponsorship.
Chase Pistone running along in the 16th position. Another 6, that's the leader. He's led every lap here so far at the Iowa Speedway from the pole, which he earned earlier today. come back and see if Brad Keselowski can chase him down. Back to the U.S. Cellular 250. 18 laps in this 250 lap event, just a tick over 218 miles to complete the distance tonight. And Ricky, our leaders have encountered a new challenge.
Yeah, and lap traffic always forces you to be a little bit defensive. The other thing is that Trevor Bayne has had a 2-car length or more lead. That allows him to continue to surge forward, look in his front windshield. When the gap closes like it is now, then the driver shifts to a more defensive mode and he starts watching the mirror on corner exit, sizing up how close he is so that you don't make a mistake through the middle of the corner when they potentially get side by side. But the driver who's the fastest on the track right now actually is running third.
Yep, you're on board. Yep, you're on board with Bayne. You see Scott in the background, but you also see Brad Keselowski now making his move, taking a look on the inside. At the line, it's still going to be Bayne and another lap car up ahead of them.
It's a lot like basketball where the leader can set a pick, and it comes with some risk, but that might be what Trevor Bayne and Keselowski are facing. Now they get around him.
And Brian Scott has joined the mix right here. If Keselowski goes through, Brian Scott might just take advantage.
This is where it gets really tricky because Brian Scott in this position actually gets a run down the front and back stretch. It creates a big air pocket. So there's less drag on the 2-car. He's going to get the run. The question is, do you use good judgment? I mean, do you push the issue?
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, do you push the issue or do you wait for things to happen? And that can determine how your day ends.
Well, right now, Bayne's hanging out on the outside, holding his line. Keselowski has decided he's going to take the inside. And again, up ahead of him, you see another slower car. They're going to have to get around. They're going to make it 3 wide coming off the corner. Just barely got around Morgan Shepherd right there. And you're still on board with Brian Scott, looking for a way to go from third to first in one move if he can.
The tendency is to want to carry more speed into the corner to try and close off the pass.
Brad's car is working pretty well on the low side there, Ricky. He doesn't have the whole track to work with because Trevor's got the high line, but he's still very quick.
But a good experienced driver won't make that mistake because if you push too hard getting in, you got 2 or 3 laps and you'll kill the right front tire. So you can see right in the middle is where Brad is going to make this pass. He's going to square up, and we got a caution out.
Caution on the track right now. Bayne is still your leader. We're being told it's for debris on the track. So having led 25 laps, Trevor and the rest of the field get a breather.
It's an interesting point of the race, Dave. I think it's too early to take tires, but some drivers back in the field struggling might say, look, we got to make some changes.
Ty Dillon's crew getting ready. They're up to 12th. They've moved forward 3 positions since the start of the race. There you see Brian Scott's crew getting ready as well. And the leader, Bayne, when you're leading, of course, their job is to maintain the position you've got, right?
This is where crew chiefs, in this case Chad Norris, earn their money. Because the rest of the field plays off of what you do or do not do.
Trevor already leading tonight, more laps than he's led in the entire 2014 season. We've talked before about the struggles that the Roush Fenway Racing program is going through in this series. Trevor got the first pole of the season for himself, but also for the organization in this series. So this is a good start for them right now. And you set the pressure on that guy right there, Chad Norris, to make the right decisions tonight.
Roush Fenway is going through a down cycle. There's no doubt about it. The numbers don't lie. But you'd be making a big mistake if you count them out.
I was going to say, I like this upcycle tonight. How about you?
Well, it helps because it's not just for the driver. This has a residual effect on everybody that is back in Concord, North Carolina, builds cars, builds engines. This is the recipe for success.
There's a lot of pride there. 132 wins in the Nationwide Series over the course of its existence, so you've got a lot at stake. Pit road is open. Looks like the only taker right now is Elliott Sadler, hitting from 9th position, and then a few behind him. Jim Noble?
Well, Dave, crew chief Chris Gale told Elliott Sadler he thought everybody was going to come. That didn't happen, but here's the 11. He's a little too loose, needs some forward bite. Chris Gale has called full tires and dropping the track bar. Got to tighten Elliott up. They're around to the left side, and it will indeed